Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So as usual today, let's just go over the market. The market is closing in about 8 minutes, roughly 7 minutes. So a little bit earlier today, but nonetheless, let's go over and see what happens. So Tesla most likely going to be ending the day at probably just a tad over 760 is my guess as the market does close. I doubt it'll actually go under 760. If at all, it'll be very, very minor. But nonetheless, ending the day up almost 5%. At some point, it was up like substantially more. I think it was up almost like 8% or something like that. Let's see. So compared to yesterday's close, let me just see. What was the peak of the day? So roughly from here to here. At some point, yeah, it was about 8% at the peak roughly. So that's actually a pretty decent day. So nonetheless, let's talk about what happened, what we can expect for next week. Like I said, we are expecting, I was expecting a bounce. And I mean, that's exactly what we are currently getting, right? We are currently getting a bounce. Now, of course, we do have a gap to fill all the way down here, which isn't ideal, but let's talk about what we can expect. So essentially the worst case scenario now based on the movement would be for this gap fill. I really think that we are getting ready to, or we have essentially confirmed that we're ready to make a move upwards. Now, again, whether or not this is just a corrective move upwards, kind of similar to this, and then we just go back down similar to this. So essentially, I'm personally expecting most likely something like this that we saw up here, like a move similar to this, most likely, right? Something close to that general look is what I think will happen. Now, like I said, you kind of ran up here, you went back down, then you went back up again, right? Kind of what I'm thinking. So we went up here. I'm expecting us to potentially, again, this is my opinion, the realistic, probably worst case-ish scenario, or not worst case, but bad case scenario. Worst case would just be break down and go straight under 700. That'll be worst case. Bad case would be, and fairly likely would be to come back down, fill this gap at like 728 roughly, and then we continue moving back upwards and make a new leg up. Most likely coming up to retrace somewhere to this yellow line you see that I have drawn, which is essentially the channel that we are currently in. That is essentially what I expect to happen. The other option is that we don't gap fill just yet, and then we maybe gap fill maybe like halfway through or something like that, or maybe don't even drop below 760, but essentially just rally back up to this line as well, which would essentially, bring us to roughly maybe by, the 24th to the 23rd of May. Okay, that, yeah, well, that's actually quite a while. Okay, I don't think that'll happen actually. I think it'll be a lot sooner than that. I think it'll be sometime next week. So probably like maybe Thursday-ish of next week. Yeah, we might actually see Tesla sitting around 840 roughly. Now, the reason we're not going as high as the 900 as I thought we would is mainly because it dropped a lot lower than this. Now, the one thing that you can potentially see happening if this is going to be a move that's higher back up to like the 900s would be a breakout of this kind of channel, downward channel that we are currently in. It never really closed outside of this channel, really. Nothing too, obvious or major or anything like that, right? Something like, in this general level. You can see this candle went well above it, but it never closed above it, right? It went right back and got sucked right back into the channel as well. So that's something to keep in mind. But essentially, guys, what I am currently expecting to happen, again, maybe a gap fill, maybe not, but regardless, I expect us to most likely come back to retest this channel probably next week, which again would bring us to around 840 roughly, give or take, and most likely get rejected by the channel and also by this general, in this case, it's going to be a resistance that you can see has been acting as a support and resistance fairly strongly, if, in the past as well. So that's definitely another possibility there. You can see, right, all throughout this area. If I extend it further, for instance, you can see, right, a lot of bounces off of this area, and then a lot of bounces from the south of it as well, from here as well. We had a few bounces. Now we had a bounce here. It's oh, sorry, down here rather. No, yeah, sorry, up here. Yeah, this is like I'm getting the two mixed up, but yeah, up here, right. So a lot of bounces from as a resistance and as a support. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So this will be a very difficult channel or area to break, this like 840-ish level. So keep that in mind, guys. That is pretty much what I'm expecting to see next week sometime. Now, one thing to keep in mind and the way to determine these kind of moves is, again, you look at the indices, of course, are definitely a decent way, but the VIX as well, a decent way. You can see the VIX was in this upward channel, which we actually just, very slightly broke under, which is good. That implies that, we are most likely going to be getting essentially a rally in the market because the VIX is starting to lose steam, which is a bullish thing for the markets. If the VIX is not losing steam and it's continuing to look like it wants to keep going higher, that's a bearish thing for the market, right? So the fact that the VIX is breaking down from this channel here now is overall a good sign for the market, which is, what you want to see. Now, taking a quick look at the 1 hour candle, or candles rather, You can see the RSI is severely higher all the way over here, which tells me that if we do end up dropping, let's say, I don't know, maybe Tuesday or something like that, Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday if I had to take a guess, could be Monday. But you know how I always say Mondays tend to rhyme with Fridays, so I'll be surprised if Monday isn't green. But again, like I said, it's not always the case. It's like a 7 out of 10 maybe ish, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 times it rhymes with Friday, and then Tuesday is the opposite. But nonetheless, regardless, if we do end up coming down to gap fill, whether it's Monday, whether it's Tuesday or whatever, I expect this RSI to come down and overall just continue making higher lows, essentially still consolidating or creating that bullish divergence, which is going to be a good sign, which essentially will also confirm the fact that we're ready to potentially move up to this, you know, roughly like 840-ish level. So that's essentially what I'm currently seeing, guys. That's pretty much what I'm seeing for the market right now, or for Tesla, at least for next week. The daily candle looks pretty mediocre. Now, I wouldn't say it's bullish or bearish. It's very kind of in the center, kind of undecided almost, I would say. The weekly candle, let's take a look at that very quickly here. Yeah, the weekly candle is looking okay. It is making essentially a hammer candle on the weekly, which is good. The issue, it's a red hammer candle. Red hammer candles aren't the most, like, they're not as good as green. Let's just say that. A green hammer candle, much better than a red one. This one, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's slightly bullish, I would say. I would say it's slightly more bullish than bearish, which tells me that, you know, next week there's a decent chance it will be a decent week. But it's like a mediocre, like a slightly bullish candle. It's not like a bullish, like, you know, it's like, yeah, okay, now we're, you know, we're looking to reverse, right? You know what I mean? So keep that in mind, guys. So it is somewhat of a hammer candle, but it is a red candle. And the last thing I want to look at are, of course, my favorite bands, the Bollinger Bands. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. Actually, let's take a look at the daily. We'll take a look at the daily. So you can see the Bollinger Band. We did finally bounce off of it, right? Where is it? All the way down here. So we did bounce off of the Bollinger Band. The white is all the way up here, though. So that tells me that it will take probably a few days, probably some consolidation, potentially even like a gap fill down to this level, which will give the white part of the Bollinger Band time to kind of get to this kind of 850-ish, 840-ish range, which will also be yet another resistance, essentially. And then we'll have the channel, this support resistance, kind of, you know, very long rectangle, and of course the white part of the Bollinger Band, essentially all being resistances, which is, I personally think, will most likely shoot us back down. And then we'll see how far we go once that happens, and if it happens. Who knows? Maybe we'll just break out and then we can actually continue a wave up. That is also possible, but I don't think it's the likely chance. I think it's like a maybe 25% chance for that to happen, and a much higher chance that we get rejected and probably go even lower with the market, because this rally is pretty aggressive, and usually aggressive rallies like this are pretty sus. But either way, guys, the market just closed 769 for Tesla. Like I said, we'd be surprised if it closed under 760. So we did not close under 760, which is great. But yeah, that's essentially what I'm seeing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think down below. I think next week should be a good week for Tesla. I think we should be making our way up to 840, which again, if we go all the way up to 840, let's just take a look at what percentage that is. Even from here right now, that would be about almost a 10% move, which is great. So nonetheless, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next week. Peace.